Now there is some things that I learned. One is that I have to accept you cannot paint in the sun. Welcome back to another episode of Broke From Here, guys. So if you are new to the channel, we have been working on this 2008 Mazda-3, and we've also been working on the Mrs. car, which is a 2010 Dodge Challenger. Now in the last episode, you probably saw me quite a bit bummed out. Things were not going that smooth. But since then, I've gone to the junkyard and I ended up buying a used rocker arm assembly. Check this out. It's all gone, guys. Listen to how smooth that is. So I'll put the previous video here. And check it out now. So, not bad at all. But like I was saying, guys, so I ended up going to the junkyard and I took apart about 5, maybe 6 3.5 liter Chrysler engines just to find the best rocker arm. And I had to do this all because when I was replacing the hydraulic lift adjusters on this rocker arm, what I failed to realize is when you knock out the old ones, you end up scarring the inside of where this lift adjuster sits. And it's meant to move kind of like this one does, just that little bit of give. The other thing I failed to do is you're supposed to let these sit in oil and get all the air out. So anyway, with those two mess ups, what ended up happening is the lifter got stuck up like this, and that's what created the gap on my valves. Now, when I got the used one from the junkyard first, notice how shiny it is compared to my used ones. So I already got a less worn rocker arm from the junkyard. But what I also noticed is a few of them still could use a little love. Like this lift adjuster was rock solid, so there's no more give to it. And this one lost its cap. So what I ended up doing is I took the two best rocker arms from the one I rebuilt and put them on the junkyard rocker shaft assembly. I ended up not taping it just because it's basically the exact same thing I did last week, done again, just with a few shinier parts. So if you want to see what I did, make sure to go back, see what happened in last episode. So anyway, guys, as you see, it runs beautifully. Yeah, it's used. Yeah, those hydraulic lifters might need to be replaced in the future, maybe in the next 10,000 miles, whatever. At this point, I just need to fix her car, get it running so I could work on this one. Currently, what we're gonna fix finally today is to wet sand all the tops of the Mazda-3. So what we're gonna do first is wash it a little bit, then we're gonna do 800, then we're gonna do 1200, then 2000, then 3000 grit sandpaper. By 3000, it's basically putting paper on paint. It'll get it so smooth that when we buff it out, it should really create a nice gloss glass finish. But before we even do any of that, I first want to do the coolant bleeding on this because I still haven't got to it yet. Let's get at it. it's the next day. I ended up finishing all the buffing last night. I did see some spots that I missed. I missed this little spot down here. But guys, remember, I picked this up a week ago with no clear coat on the hood or the roof or the trunk. Now there's still a bunch of watermarks just from all the moisture this morning, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. Like, look at that. Now there is some things that I learned. One is that I have to accept you cannot paint in the sun. It ruins up all the way the paint lays. All those dry sprays just create layers of dry spray on dry spray, and it just doesn't adhere as well. Also, it creates these weird gritty layers instead of a nice smooth layer to resurface. So if you look on this layer, this was the best one. And I mean, you can see our reflection. It even took me a minute to actually see where the fade happened, but I don't even know if you guys can see it. There is a little bit of fading in here from the old to the new, but compared to the rest, it came out amazing. Now I did start burning through some of the new paint, which was a bummer. There's some spots that this just started going right through. But I mean, all things considered, guys, this whole thing was one bland, flat surface with chips of clear coat around the whole edge. So I'm happy. I really am. My skill is at least getting better. I'm noticing things where I'm messing up more. Like right here, I need to buff this probably a little more. But I did burn through again. It's not too bad. I'll probably just go get one of those match markers to fix this up quick. But overall, guys, I'm pretty stoked. I mean, it's gonna be a good sale. Someone's gonna like this car. But the thing I wanna focus on right now is I actually wanna go to the junkyard and get a new fog lens. I saw that there might be a cool new updated one in some of the later models, so I might try to get the updated version. The other thing I think I showed you in the video, there is like a pinhole leak in the coolant tank. So the kid was actually right. The coolant tank is leaking and it's not pressurizing the system. So I wasn't able to bleed anything because the tank just wouldn't pressurize. And it took me a little while until it was actually a little overfilled, that I saw the air was kind of escaping through these little hairline cracks in the plastic. So I'm gonna head to the junkyard right now. I'm gonna try to find a replacement fog light, and then I'm gonna try to also find a replacement tank. I barely noticed that, and that tank looked pretty good to me. So it's gonna be really hard to see if one is bad, so I might just swing by and buy a new one. I think it was like 40 bucks for a brand new one. It's not that bad. But yeah, guys, let's get at it. All right, so you guys saw I made it to the junkyard, but unfortunately the fog lights that I was trying to get for this, kind of like the newer modern style, I finally found a different bumper to test fit them to like this style of housing, and they didn't match up. And unfortunately, I don't know if everyone just hits stuff with their front bumpers on Mazda-3s, but out of like 15 of them, I couldn't find a replacement bulb for this. So I'm just gonna have to cut it into the deal, knock a few bucks off. And I did grab that coolant tank that I think I showed you quick. This was literally the coolant tank I was about to buy from O'Reilly's for 44 bucks. And instead I got it for 8. It's a little dirty, but it is nearly new. Someone already replaced it, so it should be pretty good. So that's the goal right now. What I'm gonna do is replace the coolant tank, and then I wanna take off the tint off the rear windows. All right, guys, let's get at it. All right, so it's the next day, clearly. Unfortunately, it got too late last night, guys, and I didn't want to be too loud, but I wasn't able to get all the tint off. So I think I'm going to do a bit of research. I don't want to take the razor to these spots and destroy the actual defroster here. So yeah, I'm going to try to research a little bit, figure out how to do this the best. I think I finally got jinxed and just had to suffer from all those times I got lucky. The back windows came out really good. You can finally see through to the other side. But I think next episode, what I'm going to do is take out these seats and shampoo them wherever they need it. I thought I only had this spot here, but after taking out some of the tint yesterday, I started to see more spots here. So there's definitely some more staining that I want to clean up before the photo. So I think next episode is going to be basically cleaning up the whole interior, vacuuming, shampooing, and then hopefully by then I will have the next flip. Real quick, guys, I just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers and of course to everyone who's been here. If you haven't subscribed yet, it shows now that we're actually up to 74% of people who aren't subscribed. So if you haven't yet, go down, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get alerted every time I put out a new flip video. Also, if you guys haven't, if you could click the like button, it really does help us out in the YouTube algorithms as you've seen with all the new subscribers. So thank you guys. But anyway, I am pretty excited about how the paint actually came out. I mean, just the fact that you can see my reflection, this was all painted. I mean, look at that. Pretty dang good, guys. I'm gonna put a before video right now so you can remember how bad this was. And then check it out now. Like, just awesome. So yeah, it's not perfect. I did learn a lot more on this paint job. I finally have accepted that I have to do this in the shade. So I'm gonna have to put up my little gazebo or whatever the heck they're called. But still, overall, guys, I mean, from no paint to this, you can still see the blend lines. And again, I think this comes from not having the shade to have the paint adhere correctly. But anyway, guys, that's gonna wrap up another episode of Broke Premiere. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Later, guys.